you were going through the 5 general principles of the diet, and then we got on a lot of different tangents. We may have covered the other 3, but we were on number 3 at that time. Anything else within those last 3 we haven't talked about?
Yeah, just for simplicity so people know. One was blood sugar matters, calories don't. 2 was nature's carbs, not human made carbs. 3 fits perfectly what we're talking about right now. Feed your microbes, not your taste buds. The reason this is important is because your microbes control your taste buds. So if you do everything I'm talking about here, where you are fasting and then breaking your fast with your microbes in mind, your cravings change. The biggest one of that was an incredible study done really long time ago, over 10 years ago, called the every other day diet. And that was where they took people who they said, eat whatever you want. You eat it one day, you fast the next. Eat the next day, you eat whatever you want, and then you fast. So every other day you're fasting. They did that for a year. And at the end of the year, what they found is that all their metabolic markers had improved. Everybody had lost weight, which is what they thought would happen. But the surprising part was people were making better food choices for themselves as the time went on. So if you start to understand your microbes and you feed them, your taste buds will change. So that's why number 3 is feed your microbes, not your taste buds. And ultimately, you're not depriving your taste buds, you're just bringing the microbes into the selection. Like whenever we go out to eat, what do we say? We're like, what are you in the mood for? That's like, we should go, what are your microbes needing right now? It's a really interesting twist when you start to think about it. Okay, number 4 is protein is definitely the hero macronutrient. It is the hero macronutrient of the moment. Put protein with every meal. Absolutely agree with that. And then the last one is fat doesn't make you fat. We got to make sure we're doing the right fat. We're not just avoiding all fat. Most people can follow those 5. I didn't say count anything. I give if you want to count, I give here's some carb loads, here's some protein loads. But if you walk around and you follow those 5 principles, you will never metabolically stray again.
Let's go deeper into the protein piece. Bringing in your specific diet. And when you break your fast, and we're not talking about a longer fast here, just your regular intermittent fast, how much protein will you include in that first meal? And then you mentioned protein at every meal. Talk about the spread throughout that eating window and what your goal is. How much are you trying to get within a day?
So this is really interesting because I have my own personal experience. I've seen the research, and we have thousands of women that we have done this with. And here's what I have come to this conclusion. Yes, the science is impressive, and we should be getting 30 grams of protein, especially in that first meal. And we now know that we can go up to 100 grams of protein post recovery. We're getting a lot of new information about the amount of protein we should have in a meal. So when I break a fast, I really like to try to get that 30 grams. Now, having said that, I did an experiment on myself this year where I tried every day as a 55-year-old woman. I tried every single day to have a 1 gram of protein for every pound of ideal body weight. And I was lifting really heavy weights at the time. And much of that protein was being eaten before my weight workout, before I would go to the gym. So I was following all the principles. I put on weight, not just muscle. I put on fat. It was too much protein for me. I needed to cut it back in order to find my pattern with it. So that's why when I wrote Eat Like a Girl, and then I rolled that out to my Reset Academy, and I asked people, let's try it for a month. We're all going to do 1 gram of protein for every pound of ideal body weight. Let's see what the experience was. And it was mixed. Some women were like, yes, I'm definitely gaining muscle and I'm losing weight. And some women were like, I'm gaining weight left and right. Now, much of my audience is women in late perimenopause and women that are postmenopausal. So I think we need to take this protein conversation. We need to understand if it matters where you are along that menopausal journey. We don't have the research on that yet that I have found. So be your own N of one. You're going to have to find the right rhythm for you. But you can take the science, you can take a podcast like this and you can go, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, now let me practice it and see what works for me. The 1 gram of protein every day didn't work for me. But something, I've just pared it down. I took it down not so much, and that worked for me.
But you still like to hit the 30 grams for the first meal.
30, yeah, I think it's good.
And what would 30 grams look like? Are you getting that purely from food? Or are you taking a protein supplement?
Well, so I've done it in a smoothie. I can tell you that my protein powder has 14 grams of protein in it, so I got to do two scoops in there. I have my apprehension around us leaning into protein powders because they're not the true source. They're not the original source. They have been modified to be in this powder, and I'm just more of a purist. I want to come to the original source. The second thing that I really have gone into that I love is cottage cheese. Super easy to eat. I do dairy. I do it organic. 1 cup of cottage cheese has around 20 grams of protein. So I do about 1.5 cups. Super easy to eat and on the go. Really great as compared to like eggs. I love eggs, but you need about 6 eggs to be able to get over that 30-gram protein mark. The other thing that I like is chicken. Chicken, it can be really good. About 7 ounces of chicken is going to hit that 30 grams of protein. So sometimes I'll do a chicken breast, or I'll do like rolled up turkey meat. I just look on the package. I'm like, how much is in one slice? And then I calculate how many slices that I need. So I will do that at the first meal. And in Eat Like a Girl, we have a whole chart on the different amounts of protein and different sizes of protein, both plant-based and omnivore. Because there's like hemp seeds. Hemp seeds have a lot of protein in it. Quinoa has a lot of protein in it. So you can put a meal together with plant proteins and animal proteins, and you can get up to that 30-gram mark pretty quick.
To get into more detail here, I assume when you're shooting for that 30 grams, you're aiming for stimulating muscle protein synthesis, which under that, we need to hit a certain leucine threshold.
That's right.
Which, when you bring in different protein sources, certain ones are going to be better in leucine than others. Is the MPS the reason you're aiming for that 30 grams? And then talk about what that is, and then the leucine piece of that.
Here's what I want to do. Let's talk about it from a clinical level, and then I want to talk about it from a practical level. Because this protein conversation has really taken over the cultural zeitgeist right now. And everything you're saying is absolutely accurate. You want that 30 grams of protein so that you can start to get that muscle synthesis, and you need it to be leucine-rich proteins. I, again, put tons of lists of leucine and amounts in the book so people could go down that road. But now let's make it practical. The single mom, she's got a lunch break that she has 10, 20 minutes where she just wants to eat whatever she can eat. I just want her to think protein. Get the protein in your body. If she's now like, did I get 30 grams? Was it leucine rich? That starts to become hurdles. And I want to go back to what you said at the beginning of this podcast, is it's gotten very complicated in the nutritional and health world. These are important discussions to have. We should know about leucine. We should know about 30 grams. And then what I really want to know is how do you want to fit that into your life so you can succeed at getting protein in, which is why I said, get it protein with every meal, because that's easy to follow. Now, if you want to take it one step further, yes, make it a leucine-rich protein. Yes, make it 30 grams or more if you really want to go into it. But let's set everybody up for success in knowing protein is the hero macronutrient. We've ignored protein. Let's bring it back. I'm so happy we're having the conversation, but don't lose your vision on the amounts or the types and get worn down by that. I want to just make sure you're getting protein in.
Makes sense. And the other layer to this too, which you mentioned, resistance training is another stimulus for MPS. So it's not all dietary, it's also the actual stimulus to the muscle causing an effect with MPS.
Yeah. And so it's there's the information of what we're talking about, and then there's the application. So if I'm like sitting down and I'm like, I'm really going to, like, this is what I did at the beginning of this year. I was like, I'm going to really focus on muscle. I'm going to take all the principles of muscle and I'm going to play with them. Then conversations like this become really helpful. Yeah, get the leucine. Yeah, make it 30 grams or more. The post-recovery study that came out this year that was like, you could go up to 100 grams of protein after the workout. Great. Do that if you want to move into, like you said, the MPS and be able to like stimulate this muscle synthesis, protein synthesis that's happening. But if you're just trying to get around throughout the day and you want your metabolic health to be great, you want your menopausal symptoms to be better, you want your hormones to be balanced, just make sure you're getting protein with every meal.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch a full episode. I'll see you over there.
If you're feeling more confused than ever, then let's just come back to some basic principles like these 5 foundational food ideas and learning how to fast. And you will see so much change.